Hello, my name is Ethan, and welcome back to another episode of Path of Exile Sentinel League 3.18. In this episode, I wanted to go over a build update. Some build changes for the specific one in this case is Profane Bloom. Last episodes we went over the minion instability / doomsday impossible escape using an Inspire Learning to get Headhunter buffs in a minion build. Now I want to go over what I did to my build. So let's start it off with first 3 golems. Wait, what? What did you do? So I realized I wanted to put in some jewels, Profane Bloom. I wanted to try some stuff, and then I was like, okay, I could take out 1 jewel. The intuitive leap to this and save the points, and I could have 1 jewel if I did the spell cluster, and then I could have an extra jewel socket. But what I did is I put in Profane Bloom from the Occultist. So what does Profane Bloom do? Can I show it here, please? Okay, Profane Bloom. Your hexes can affect hexproof enemies, so I can Assassin's Mark a hexproof enemy. Cursed enemies you or your minions kill have a 40% chance to explode, dealing a quarter of their maximum life as chaos damage. So the first thought I had was, is this my damage or my minions? So then I asked chat, yo, do I need spiritual aid? And they didn't know, and I tried it. I don't think you need it, and I'll now say why. So this jewel, this ability, this occultist ascendancy is you or your minion kills. So the minion kills, and the minion explodes, and the minion does the chaos damage, and the minion has the damage scaling, so you don't need spiritual aid unless you kill. So the way you would kill is if you had a Kingmaker, and you maybe had Auricali's Fang, and maybe you were actually shooting shit like a Purifying Flame, or some sort of thing to curse, or maybe you're cycloning, maybe you're doing the Divine Ire. Like, there's a bunch of things you could do with the spiritual aid that where you kill the enemy, and so your damage would matter for the explosions. But if we don't kill ever, this is useless because we're not exploding, we're not doing damage, therefore we don't need the damage. It's minions. Okay, so then my second thing though is I was like, it feels like this isn't working sometimes. Why is it only sometimes it's working then? What's wrong with it? Is it not getting AoE increased from the minion AoE? Like, what's going on? So then I figure out, oh, it's chaos damage, right? This is better in like a chaos poison build where you could poison off these chaos explosions, or you could also just scale the chaos with nearby enemies have less chaos res, or the take increase chaos, or the there's the gaze helmet, there's potentially despair curse, there's a bunch. Also I wanted to mention, apparently Profane Bloom, this explosion doesn't have any base crit, but if you give it base crit, it can crit. So I found in testing on Uber Blight, if you walk onto a boss, it will get brittle because of the brittle boot, and then that'll have 5 base crit, and we could get it to 6.5 with the extra Assassin's Mark. And then it can crit, and it works, and it's pretty sick, and it's a lot of damage, huge. And then I also noticed when I'm doing it and I'm getting the chain explosions, and because let's say my carrion or my zombie or my spectre kills a cursed enemy, they'll explode. But then these two, because they're linked to brutality, don't do any chaos damage, so it's a waste. This is really bad. I don't want to run this in my physical build anymore. I only want to run this again if I make a chaos build, and then this looks really insane, because then you could even go just a curse chaos build where we use like a sentence, and we don't even need the explode chest, you don't need Gravebind, and it would just be about cursing all the enemies, and then that should work. I still think that the explode chest helps chain the explosion to get the curse everywhere. But then we could also run Blasphemy Curse on ourselves too. There's a ton of options here. But then this opens up 2 jewel sockets for whatever we want. It's really cool. So this does just work in my build technically, because then the AG explodes more and curses everything and explodes the curse. But the fact that my carry-ons and my zombies can brick it and ruin it with the brutality, I don't want to take out brutality in this version. I'd rather stay physical. But a chaos version does seem really viable because Profane Bloom is so strong. But yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to go with the win. Another thing I thought about was I wanted to talk about something. They just put out a post and it was going over some interactions. So I wanted to go over an interaction that they listed. So something about taunt and flee. 100% chance to taunt, 100% chance to flee. So enemies you taunt can only target you and deal 10% less damage to anyone else. Taunt lasts for 3 seconds. So I figured out that the taunt, yo, it's only you, and flee is the other way around. They target you. That's kind of cool. But then the thing about this is showing me that, okay, taunt works off the first minion that taunts the enemy. So actually, if I made my zombies taunt the enemy, my zombies take full damage from the enemy and don't take the less damage. And it's only the other minions that would be getting the less damage and me. So in theory, the best way to get minion survivability, because I have an immune minion, it would be the AG or even the carry-on golems. Probably the carry-on golems is my best bet. Get the carry-on golems to taunt, and then it's just the first enemy that taunts, and then you just would have to keep the thing taunted in that in those 3 seconds, and we should be able to, since we have like 60 attacks per second with 8%. It's pretty cool. So I was thinking about running one of those jewels for zombies taunting hulking corpses, but we don't actually want our zombies to taunt, because I believe still that our zombies 54k, the Charon Golem 67, even without the primordial harmonies, the Charon Golems are so tanky. One thing, yeah, I took the 3 jewels I took out were 3 primordial harmonies. I only run the anima stone. The idea was 1 anima stone is 1 golem. I get an extra golem with 3 harmonies. That's kind of insane. That's really expensive. I was thinking about how to get jewels in. I forgot to mention this part. And so then I also realized with these 2 jewels, I could take Elemancer or Liege of the Primordial, and that's an extra golem and some extra stuff without doing primordial harmonies. I don't really want to do that, but I could. You could do that. I also thought of a few other options, like we could do the Bastion for of Elements, so we could have a big ES shield. I mean, elemental shield. We could even take our own Ascendancy. We could take Plaguebringer. We could take Mistress of Sacrifice. We could run Fortress Covenant to have the extra block and minion damage. There's so many options here. Technically, we could revert the Quickening back and do the triple harmony and just run the extra carry-on. It's possible. There's so many ways to play this. But that explode thing definitely works better without brutality, and works better with actual chaos scaling, and it's actually really good. And I wanted to include this extra taunt thing in here because it's actually crazy that they give us taunt on a medium jewel, which is for zombies, which is the one we don't want taunted, because we want them to take less damage too, probably. So it's only the first minion of the taunt. So like the idea would be that the carry-on golem jumps in and hopefully taunts before anything else, but like I don't know how likely that is. It could happen. I kind of want to fit taunt in the build again. But then I don't need blind because I already have blind on the weapons of the Animate Guardian. We already have blind, so I don't need blind. It would just be taunt. Really cool. But then what would I even run? Oh. It was not enjoyable. And then it was the whole thing. You have to scourge all your shit, and you have to just fucking scourge it a million times, which I also just hate. Random RNG, no, like... the whole thing was fucked. So then I didn't even care about the cool items it made, and then yeah, it's like I didn't even use the mechanic. And why would you play the league? That's so fucked. Ultimatum, 50 billion rares. Yeah, just because of Brutality, messing it up and going fizz build, I'm probably not going to be running the Profane Bloom. This does make me want to make a Chaos version though, with the Profane Bloom and like poison and do that whole thing. And it sounds actually absolutely insane if you wore the. I'll show you actually. If you wore this chest plate with envy and minion poison, so then the poison from the Profane Bloom and then everything's poisoning, so anything that triggers the Profane Bloom should work, and then the envy skill, which adds like base added chaos damage or something to spells and skills, I think, spells and attacks. Let's see, with attacks and spells, additional chaos damage, yep. And it also had a huge radius increase, apparently. It seems pretty cool, and we could make that poison build. So, chaos, poison, not brutality. Really cool, though. Really, really insane. And now I wanted to get into my second video, so stay tuned. Look forward to my second video where I talk about AoE in minion builds. I figured something out, so stay tuned. But basically, I'll just show you this real quick. Boom.
When I'm ready, and not before.
And now for the bigger one. Boom! Massive. If you've ever explored anything, like the video. Let's get 50 likes in 2 days on this video. Thank you guys for all the support. Thanks for hanging out. If you guys like the video, then hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys in the next episode, where we show AoE